Hi, this is Bud for Brains, and today we're talking about the real truth behind dispensaries. What budtenders actually know, what they don't, how THC percentages can mislead people, and how you can walk in as an informed consumer, not just following the marketing. Quick note before we start, this is strictly educational for audiences legally allowed to access cannabis and not promoting any consumption. A lot of people hear buzzwords or repeat misconceptions. It's important for all of us to separate fact from marketing and really understand what we're buying. Budtender knowledge varies. Some are highly informed, some are just learning on the job. Either way, they could be a great resource, if you know the right questions to ask. So let's bust one of the biggest misconceptions right away. Not every budtender is automatically an expert. Dispensaries hire a variety of people, almost similar to a liquor store employee. They might not know every hop and jump in a brew, or they might be the former cultivator for cookies. So it's important to be able to pick their brain a bit and understand who exactly you're talking to. So, if you can't rely entirely on a budtender's knowledge, how do you walk out with the right product? It starts with knowing how to ask the right questions, because the questions you ask will tell you a lot about both the product and your budtenders. A really good budtender won't just repeat the strain name or the THC number. They'll ask you questions. Things like, what kind of effect are you looking for? How sensitive are you to edibles? Do you prefer uplifting or relaxing profiles? If they immediately jump to recommending the highest THC percentage item or whatever's on sale, that's usually a sign you're dealing with someone who's less experienced or just trying to move product. A knowledgeable budtender will talk about terpenes, batch freshness, grow style, or how two similar strains can actually differ. If they say, I'm not sure, let me check, that's actually a good sign. The best budtenders are honest, not all-knowing. One thing people don't realize is that asking about a budtender's personal experience doesn't always lead to a useful recommendation. Not because they're lying, but because everyone processes cannabis differently. Plus, the budtenders aren't told to try or use a single product. They might get samples or indulge on their own, but the chances they've tried your specific strain stoop lower with the higher variety of product at the store. So instead of asking, did you like it? You'll get way more value about asking things like where it was grown, how fresh it is, and what the terpene profile looks like. They also aren't going to know your medical history or exactly how a product will make you feel. Only a best guess overall given the terpenes and potency. So try asking about things like where it was grown, the batch production and packaging date, and the terp profile. If you're a recreational consumer, you need to have a lot more consumer discretion because the rules aren't as strict as the medical industry. For example, if you have moderate or severe allergies, an indoor grow might be more suitable for you due to being protected from the elements more. People experience this for real. Indoor grow is also typically more consistent and cleaner than the outdoor grows, but something even more important is the packaging versus batch production date. Bud is tested very early on before it's sent away to dispensaries, so even some of the testing percentages you could see are slightly lower due to heat exposure from shipping and the bud growing older from when it was first harvested, and some other factors. Some batches can sit on shelves for up to months due to lack of demand, so it's important you know which is fresher. So, if you can't rely entirely on the budtender's knowledge, how do you make sure you're choosing the right product? That's where THC, CBD, and terpenes come in. Most people think a higher THC percentage automatically means a stronger effect, and I was among these. It's not necessarily true. THC is only one part of the story. Cannabinoids, terpenes, and how they interact together with your body chemistry all work together to shape the experience. Of course, THC is still part of the story, but going for nearly 40% flower with minimal terpenes is going to fare far worse than a lighter 25% strain with a high percentage of terpenes and maybe some CBD mixed in. The high percentage will still work, it's just not a full spectrum feeling of the plant. This is also why Rick Simpson oil, or RSO, is a great alternative to modern edibles, but this could be a topic entirely on its own. So, what even are terpenes? Terpenes are the aromatic compounds in cannabis that influence effect and experience. Terpenes aren't limited to cannabis, as they can be found in nearly any plant you could think of. Even two strains with the same amount of THC can taste, smell, and feel very different because of their terpene profile. Learning a few basic terpene types can help you predict what a product might do. Research on terpenes has been advancing, but we still don't understand every minute detail. Although we do have a good picture. CBD might be another thing you're wondering about, and that's one of the non-psychoactive parts of the plant, and where most of the medicinal effects come into play. This is what really gives you that warm body feeling, pain, anxiety, and inflammation relief, where most of the medicinal effects of the plant come into play. So, once you understand THC, CBD, and terpenes together, the whole shopping experience shifts. You stop chasing the highest number on a label, and you start choosing products based on how they'll actually likely make you feel. And that's really the whole point of this video. Dispensaries are full of great products, but the information you need isn't always front and center. And not every bud tender is going to walk you through it. When you know how to ask the right questions, you understand what you're actually looking for. You put yourself in a position to get something that genuinely fits your body and your goals. Whether you're shopping for relief, relaxation, focus, creativity, or anything in between, being an informed consumer gives you way more control over the entire experience. And the more you learn about things like terpenes, freshness, cannabinoid balance, the easier it gets. If you want me to do a breakdown of specific terpenes, a deeper explanation of lab testing, or even a full video on RSO, let me know. Each of those topics could be easily their own episode. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.